So my persuasive speech is on how marijuana should not be legalized in the United States. The Missouri Medicine Journal stated THC, the principal psychoactive ingredient, is more than 20-fold than it was in marijuana products used several years ago. Marijuana has become an increasingly popular drug and has become normalized in our culture now. For many reasons that I will explain, I believe that marijuana should not be legalized for recreational use or even at all. Surprisingly, marijuana is the most common drug detected in fatal car accidents, behind alcohol, of course. This drug not only can damage your mental health, but your brain itself. It changes your cognitive functions. In addition, marijuana increases your chances of lung disease and cancer due to inflammation of the respiratory tract. These are just some of the many problems this drug can cause. According to hg.org, fatal car accidents involving marijuana have tripled in the U.S. Since this drug is now legalized in almost half of the states in the U.S., the public perception of this drug has changed as well. Dr. Lee, director of the Center of Epidemiology and the Prevention of Columbia, explained, currently 1 of 9 drivers involved in fatal car accidents would test positive for marijuana. He later warned that if we continue to normalize these non-alcohol drugs, will be the most common substance paired with deaths linked to impaired driving. If someone is to choose to put others' lives at risk as well as their own, a fatal car crash is 13 times higher than the risk of a driver not under the influence. That's also by hg.org. There are serious consequences of driving impaired, and as marijuana is increasingly used, so are deadly accidents that could have easily been avoided. It is a very common myth to believe that marijuana is just a drug that relaxes you and makes you feel good, and it has no permanent effect to your body, of course. This lie is what convinces those who have never used this addictive drug to try it just one time. National Institute on Drug Abuse explained THC is able to alter the functioning of the hippocampus and orbitofrontal cortex. These brain areas enable a person to form new memories and shift his or her attentional focus. When these specific areas of the brain get messed with, it interrupts the brain's ability to learn and perform complicated tasks that they could easily have done before marijuana. This drug also affects the cerebellum and the basal ganglia. These areas of the brain regulate balance, posture, coordination, and reaction time. Researchers found that in the early 90s, the average THC content in the marijuana samples was less than 4%. However, in 2018, it was over 15%. We have slowly become more and more normalized by the THC and the marijuana that we just keep adding it and people just become more addicting to it, which has serious effects on our brain and body. We don't know the full potential of consequences that can happen when the brain as well as the body are exposed to high concentrations of THC, but from what researchers know about how marijuana affects the body, why even do it? I realize that marijuana is positive in some ways, such as medical treatment, pain relief, and etc. However, this drug is good for those 2 reasons and those reasons only. Due to people believing that marijuana is perfectly fine for them, has caused an exponential increase in the use of it. A study conducted by Statista Research Department found nationwide support of the federal legalization of cannabis has grown every year, with 18 to 34-year-olds being the biggest supporters. Most people, not all obviously, with this age group do not have serious medical problems that need marijuana to solve their issues. It's all for recreational use and catching the high. The risks far outweigh the benefits in all aspects, mentally, physically, and even socially. It has been research that if you use marijuana frequently, that you can become really dependent on it, and you'll find out that you don't need anyone. You'll slowly push people out of their life, and that is also detrimental to your mental health as well. Many marijuana users use the excuse that marijuana is safer and better for you to smoke than tobacco products. This is also a myth. According to the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Institute, marijuana smoke contains a similar range of harmful chemicals to that of tobacco smoke, including bronchial irritants, tumor promoters, and carcinogens. Compared to smoking marijuana over tobacco, there is a deeper inhalation, leading to a greater amount of smoke staying inside your lungs for a longer period of time. So typically when someone does smoke marijuana, they keep it in and like hold it in there for a little bit, and that gets through, it goes straight through the tissue of like your lungs and gets in your bloodstreams really fast. And all this results in approximately 5 times the carbon monoxide concentration, 3 times the tar, and the retention of 1/3 more tar in the respiratory tract. This is also by the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Institute. Although the link between marijuana and lung cancer is not clear, there have been other serious lung problems that are definitely associated with marijuana, such as bullous lung disease, which is abnormal air spaces in the lungs caused by the damage to the lung walls. So if you smoke marijuana frequently, it'll eventually have a serious effect on your respiratory tract, and honestly, every part of your body. It's kind of all connected, and it'll all kind of fall apart together. And the second serious disease is pneumothorax, which is a collapsed lung. We do know this drug has long-term effects of lung tissue, and the smoke of this drug contains several chemicals that are extremely harmful to the body. There are many, many other reasons why this drug is so harmful to the human body, thus should not be legalized, but I will quickly go over the main 3 I believe are important. 1, marijuana is becoming the #1 reason for fatal accidents, quickly catching up to the alcohol-related fatal accidents. 2, this drug affects several parts of the brain that cannot be reversed. 3, marijuana severely damages the whole respiratory tract. In this situation, the bad outweighs the good of this drug. I do understand that there are some beneficial things that this drug has provided for us. However, people are not using it for the right reasons anymore. Therefore, marijuana should not be legal in the United States. Thank you.